blood pressures. Greetings, peace and love. I am Midwife Sakisa, and in this short series of videos, I'm talking to you about some of the tools that you might find in a midwife's prenatal bag. And so in this particular video, we're going to talk about blood pressures, right? Blood pressures are critical throughout life, not just in pregnancy. I truly believe this is another tool that everyone should have. Just like we have thermometers in our home because we want to test whether or not someone in the household has a fever, you should also have a blood pressure cuff in your home. They make them all kind of ways. They have the upper arm digital cuffs, and this one is actually a wrist cuff. This is one of my favorites. You simply just apply it to the wrist, right? You turn it on, and then you place it across your chest, or you place it up like this, and then it'll tell you what your blood pressure is. Everyone should understand what their normal blood pressure is, because unlike body temperatures, which 98.6 is standard Fahrenheit temperature for most human beings, blood pressures can range. Blood pressures range from one person to the next. Now, there is a standard, right? 120/80. We really don't want your blood pressure to be over 120/80. I will say, if you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, you might be up there, right? Such as some of the things that I experienced myself. Nonetheless, if you are under the age of 40, your blood pressure really should not be over 120/80 unless you have a very high salt diet, you're way over your BMI, which is your body mass index. There can be some contributing underlying medical conditions that can cause your blood pressure to be elevated. But ideally, we want it to be under that 120/80. Okay, and so again, there are various ways of checking a blood pressure. This is manual. As I mentioned in one of my other videos, I was not allowed to use a digital cuff when I first was a student midwife. They did not allow me to use a digital cuff until I understood how to take a blood pressure manually. And so what we're doing when we're listening for the blood pressure is we are literally placing the stethoscope on the veins of the arm. In most cases, you can also do it in the leg, but I'm more acquainted with the arm. And so you're placing the blood pressure cuff on that brachial artery right there in the arm, and we're listening for the first sound that we hear, right? And so typically the first sound you hear is going to be what we call the systolic, that first number, right? Which is usually going to be a 3-digit number for most people. And then the last sound that you hear will be the diastolic. And that is a number that we want to be at least 2 digits. We do not want that diastolic, that bottom number, to be over 3 digits. Let's see if I can show you an example on this cuff of what we're talking about. So see, here is a blood pressure that's 101/56. I have another one there, 101/46. Now, this is what I call a teenage blood pressure right there, 83/44, 111/8. These are just some of my moms that I've seen, right? Now, I will honestly say that smaller, petite women, I find to have much lower blood pressures. I call it, again, a teenage blood pressure. My mamas that are like 110, 115 pounds, maybe even 100 pounds, 4'11", 4 feet 11 inches rather, they tend to have very lower than usual blood pressures. This is why it's so important for you to understand and recognize what your normal pressure is, because most physicians and most practitioners and nurses are going to identify that 120/80. Let's say you have a normal range of 90/56 is your norm. 90, anywhere between 90, 95, 56 to 60. That's your normal range. Well, when you get up to 120/80, that's really, really high for you, right? You're pushing stroke levels at that point. We can't wait for your numbers to get in the triple digits, which is like the 140s over 110, because you might really pass out or have some very damaging effects, side effects from your blood pressure being that elevated. So this is why it's critically important for you to understand what your normal blood pressure is, okay? And so there are a variety of ways to do this. Most blood pressure cuffs you can find at any pharmacy, commercial or the smaller local pharmacies, mom and pop shops in your area. You can order them on Amazon, and it really needs to be a part of your household wellness kit, right? You should have your thermometer there, and you should have your blood pressure cuff there, and regularly check it, especially if you're dealing with things like headaches, fatigue, nosebleeds, ringing in your ears, blurred vision. There's a variety of things that can show up alongside hypertension that can go unrecognized, especially in pregnancy. They can be written off as just normal pregnancy symptoms, and we may not pick up on it until it's grossly evolved to the point where now we have to have a C-section because you have advanced preeclampsia. These things can be avoided by understanding what your normal is, right? Your normal blood pressure is going to be different from my normal blood pressure. I understand what mine is. Do you know what yours is? So as always, I hope I said something that helps someone out there. Continue to watch these videos for more information about how you can take care of yourself and understanding some of the basic normal tools that a midwife carries in her prenatal bag. Until next time, thank you.